It's not one of those good days. I've already lost the tic-tac-toe game this morning and it's only like 9 o'clock. And so I feel like we need to do our daily job site thing. DJ, are you ready?
Yup.
Nope.
This is gonna be a tie.
Stupid game. We got the cap on, and we're working on getting our cap on. DJ did some fancy work around there for the duct work of the dryer bed. Nice little thing, put a 90 on there. This is not something I would recommend doing. We're putting it in a place so that you will never access it again. But we decided if he ever needs to do work, he's gonna run a new line inside the house. I didn't really know what else to do. I couldn't put it in the conduit anymore, so. And then once the cap's on, we're done with that. Done with the stoop. Going to set a step there, and then this gets filled in with pavers. So I think we went over about 4 key elements of walls: retaining walls, walls in general, separation fabric, separate the base and the soil, 6 inches of compacted 2A, and then setting bed. You can use a concrete sand. We use wash number 9s. Then set your first course of block, get that nice and level. Drainage. Make sure that you have at least 6 to 10 inches of 2B clean stone behind there, and with a wall drain in so that your water can get away from behind the wall. Other than that, that's about what you need to get a nice retaining wall that's gonna last for years. If you have lots of heights, you're gonna, depending what the block is and the height of the wall, we use GeoGrid. In this case, we didn't do that. We'll show you that in another video. Morning, folks. Another beautiful day on the job site, and we're making progress. DJ finished up the stoop this morning, got the border cut in, and I'm still working on these steps. I pretty much don't do anything except fart around on these steps all day, but it's coming together a little slowly. When the unit you're working with costs 400 bucks a piece, you measure twice and cut once. I actually don't know what they cost, but I know that York steps are expensive.
You got about an average of 2 steps a day.
It's looking pretty good. I like it. We have about 37 tons of clean stone in here. And let me see here. Let's see what's bid here. Oh, 13 ton is bid.
13 ton.
And we're right around 50 so far. So, hey, cheers to Weston for getting our bidding right on.
Wannabe designer.
It's just one of those things where you don't expect when you tear away a deck that there's an underground pool underneath the deck. So it's one of those things you deal with. But I feel confident that what we did is the right thing. So we have all that clean stone in here. I'm gonna plate it one more time. I'm gonna put fabric over the whole thing the second time, and then we're gonna start compacting in 2A. That's gonna be the agenda for today. Get this base in, maybe screed 9s, probably lay pavers on Monday. DJ says we're gonna get it all done today, but
yeah, for a wrap up for sure.
I think it's gonna be a stretch to get a wrap up today, but hey, I like his attitude. Well, good morning. We are screeding our setting bed, our wash number 9s, and we're going to be laying pavers today. Just a couple of tips on screeding a setting bed for, or doing base in general for patios. One thing you want to keep in mind is where your water is going to be going. We shoot a 1.5% slope with which is about 1.5 inches per 10 feet, typically away from the house or parallel with the house, basically so your water when it rains is going in a place where you want it instead of into your basement. With this case, I sloped it 1.5% this way because that helped with my grade. We set our laser transit. I came off of here, and then we have these inch metal poles. DJ just went along and set a bunch of these, so they should be on. We set both ends of these poles, boom, dead on. And then we take our aluminum screeding bar and just pull that back, and we get a nice setting bed for that. And then we're ready to lay. Pretty straightforward process. Nice and easy. I know my water is going to be going this way. It's not going to be going in the basement where I don't want it. And we're going to be laying pavers here in a bit. Alright, almost done with screeding our 9. One thing I forgot to mention when you're doing base for patios, as a rule of thumb, say your edge of your patio is going to be here, you want your base to extend out past the edge of the patio at least 6 inches. That'll give you plenty of room to do pave edge, and it just gives you the assurance of having a nice sturdy base out the whole way. In cases where you're building up, you know, dirt and stone at the same time, building up the grade, I wouldn't, 2 feet isn't too much as far as having your base out farther past the edge of your patio. Okay, we now need to fill in with a hand trowel places where our pipes have been. Snap a string line to lay our pavers square with the house. What's border? How wide is border?
5 1/4.
5 1/4. We use a chalk line and 3 4 5. So we're gonna snap a line, 3 4 5, a big square. We're gonna measure out here. I'm gonna have to walk across our 9s, which is not really allowed. 5 1/4 out close. And we'll snap a line and lay our pavers with that. That'll give us a gap to put border along there. That way we're not cutting alongside the house. Come down here, 5 1/4. Now we'll snap a line from those 2 trowel points and lay along there. And I'll put my 3 4 5 against that line and snap a line this way. That way we'll lay square in this along with the house. So there you have it. All right, 23 seconds later, patio's laid in. That didn't take long at all, did it?
Nope.
So I'll show you a little trick to get nice gentle curves marked out to cut. We just use 1/2 inch conduit. Measured out there, we were supposed to have 20 feet out there, and then we already marked it, but we just lay it on here, something like that. Then you can play around with it and see how your curve looks. Try different stuff, and then when you have something you like, mark it out with a soapstone. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of marking along here, get to know where to cut in our border, and then we're gonna start cutting. We're gonna get this thing done here in no time at all. The line's nice and straight. All our lines are broken up. There's no really long lines running through the patio, so it's looking good. On to the saws. All right, it's all cut in, border's in, and we're gonna go over one last important step of doing a good job on a patio. Is your edging. We just use a plastic. There's aluminum strips like this as well. We use an aluminum one if we have a clean stone setting bed, but in 2A we use these. I cut notches in them so they flex a little nicer around our curves. And these are not to hold your pavers in place, when that's typically what people think. They'll flop it on here and pound it down to hold their pavers in place. Then freeze and thaw, pretty soon they're up here, and you see these nasty black strips around your edges. So what we do first, these are actually to retain your setting bed. Keep your setting bed from slowly working its way out from underneath that border piece, and then the edges of your patio look like this. So what we do to keep that from happening, I just use a flat shovel. We scrape away that setting bed all the way down into the base. See, there's that hard base. That's not gonna move. These 9s that would move. Scrape that away. Set this pave edge down on the base. Slide it in against until it's nice and vertical. What it actually does is holds that setting bed in place. Now it can't migrate out and your border stays nice and level. You don't get tapered edges after a while. Also, it's all the way down here, and we bring dirt work and mulch up against here, and you're never gonna see this black plastic piece. It's all below grade. So there we go. That's an important part of doing a good job on a patio. It's pretty easy. I still remember, this was the first summer I was working for Tussey. I was on one of Matt's jobs, and I went the whole way around a big patio just slapping this pave edge down on the 9s. I don't remember what Matt said, but it made enough of an impression on me that I think about it every time I do pave edge. We learned to do it right here at Tussey. Now that I have the pave edge pounded in with these spikes, use non-stainless steel or non-galvanized, something that'll rust because they rust in place in that 2A, and that's how you want it. So it's all spiked down, and then I go along and take these 9s and I put them in this joint along here, just because when you scrape away, sometimes it can start to slope away. So I fill that up, and then if I have one that's in a little bit crooked, I can just lift it. There we go. Those 9s that I put in there are held in place by this edge, so they can't migrate out. And that way I get a nice, sturdy, level edge. All done. Well, we still need to fill our joints with poly sand. Is this the guy that always makes fun of the office guys? Becoming the office guy? Is that what that is?
I think
hey, come back here. I'm sorry. That was not an insult. Could it be that all those years he was actually just jealous? That he really wanted to be the office boy?
You look like you're wrapping up, and that's not acceptable at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Can't help we work fast. This is going to take a while, though.
But that's enough for at least a couple jobs.
Woo! All right, project completion. This is E.P. Henry's economy line paver. It's their Imperial paver. Rittenhouse. It's a very nice product. It's easy to lay. Looks nice. Very happy how it all turned out. We got our all grass work done today. Well, not grass work done, but all the finished grading. Someone at Tussey is hogging all the hydro seeding equipment, so we'll have to come back and do that tomorrow. Painted out some edges here where he's gonna do some planting and mulching afterward, as well as over there. 4 days maybe?
Something like that.
4 days. We've got a nasty looking deck out of here, and nice new hardscape that's gonna add to the value of their home. It's an eyesore that is no longer there, and it's gonna give them a nice space to enjoy mornings and evenings right here on this patio space. See you guys on the next one.